Hello again. The other day I was watching an online seminar about Bible storytelling given by Bob Hartman, the author of the Lion Children's Bible. He told some Bible stories in his usual very amusing and engaging way. I especially liked his retelling of the story of Zacchaeus. The main point of his talk was that you need to tell Bible stories with passion, and I thought how right he was, and that the most memorable retelling of Bible stories comes from people who tell the story so passionately that you can't help but be drawn into that story and then, of course, remember it. I started thinking about Bible stories that were memorable to me, and I remembered Keith Bulcock telling a story from the pulpit at St Giles. He spoke of the call of Jesus' disciples, and he told the story with such energy and passion that the message really hit home. I also used to look forward to when Jeff Hawkridge came out of retirement to preach. His sermons were also very memorable. Then I started thinking back to my childhood, and I remember an RE teacher that I had when I first started secondary school. Her favourite Bible story was clearly the conversion of Paul on the road to Damascus, and she managed to fit a retelling of that story into many an RE lesson. However, I don't think it was the frequent repetition of the story that made it so memorable, but more the way that she told the story with such a passion that the words seemed to speak right to the heart and had a very real and lasting impression on me. But I suppose my favourite story from childhood that has continued to speak to me throughout my life is the story from Mark's Gospel, chapter 4, verses 35 to 41. This story was first told to me by my Sunday school teacher, and the words seemed to seep into my soul. After a long day, Jesus asked the disciples to take him across the lake to the other side. Jesus must feel really relaxed because he immediately falls asleep in the boat and doesn't even wake up when a storm brews. The disciples are terrified because despite being seasoned fishermen, they know how dangerous the storms in that area can be. I guess they must feel frustrated with Jesus and wake him up asking if he doesn't care if they all drown. He gets up and immediately speaks to the wind and the waves and asks them to quieten down. Peace, be still are the words that I remember to this day and the words that still speak to me. They have been words that have been given to me for great comfort in times of stress and difficulty, and the words that speak to me in this current situation we're all in. We can ask why God appears to be sleeping, as Jesus did in the boat. Yet Jesus implies that it is his very presence in the boat that is enough to keep the disciples safe. We can think that God is not doing anything to stop this pandemic, but God is ever present with us throughout, and is using this challenging situation that we are in to create good. Our community spirit seems to be really developing. We hear many stories of acts of consideration and kindness, people doing things that they wouldn't have dreamed of a few weeks ago. So we hear in Romans 8, verse 28, all things work together for good for those who love God and who are called to his purpose. Let's have confidence in the presence of our Lord, taking care of us at this current time, and let us continue to pray for those most affected by coronavirus. Will you join me in prayer? God of compassion, be close to those who are ill, afraid, or in isolation. In their loneliness, be their consolation. In their anxiety, be their hope. In their darkness be their light. Through him who suffered alone on the cross, but reigns with you in glory, Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.